Castorice has been quite the hot topic for a while now, and since I've had a chance to form a more solid opinion on her meta position, I thought I'd deliver my more fleshed out thoughts on the character, and evaluate where I currently think she stands in the meta. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. I'll go over all the main points that make up her overall value as a character, based on my personal experience playing her. To start, I will say, yes, she feels strong, and if you want to try her out, she's on banners right now, but where can you go to for cheaper stellar jades? Good news, Loot Bar is here to help us out. Loot Bar is a splendid service which can offer you cheaper stellar jades compared to the official prices shown in-game. Look at this comparison between the official cost and the Loot Bar cost. New users get a wonderful 8% off, and the prices are up to 23% cheaper compared to the official channel. Loot Bar is a fully safe service, and has countless positive reviews. But how does it actually work? Allow me to show you. First, input your UID. That's right, you need no login information whatsoever. Choose your desired package, and then look at that! More stellar jades for me! This is all legit since the site uses a VPN, which is how they cheapen the stellar jades, and official top-up methods are used. Check out Loot Bar today to save on all your gacha needs. However, the fact that she's strong right now is kind of a no-brainer. HP scaling DPSs are being massively shielded in endgame content right now, so naturally, she's gonna feel good. I think something that you have to keep in mind with any Honkai-style DPS is that their free-to-play setups will feel good for a patch or two. Then they'll fall off of a cliff if you either don't have all of that unit's main puzzle pieces, or if you have no clue as to what you're doing team building-wise. I thought it'd be interesting to see how this unit fares on a somewhat regular account. I say somewhat because this is a low-spender account, but I don't have 5 billion DDDs or anything like that. The main notable thing is that I don't have Tribute on my account, because I don't like kid characters, plain and simple. However, my Castorice is E0S1 with a fairly decent build, and I have an E1S0 Raw Mei. My Sunday is E1S1 too, but I typically reserve him for my Mighty anyway. One half of my endgames is essentially always covered, since I have E3S1 Mighty, and I will be E6ing him on his next banner. In MOC, she's of course good against Flame Reaver since she's able to take care of him pretty easily. The fastest that I've managed to clear was 3 cycles using Sunday and Raw Mei, but otherwise, 4 cycles using RMC Raw Mei is my average. The Dragon's AoE easily blasts down Reaver Stone statue dudes, which equals abusing the boss's mechanics very easily, but obviously, that should come as no surprise. Flame Reaver is easily the most difficult boss in Honkai Star right now, while also featuring some of the highest HP out of any enemy this game has to offer. Tribby would easily cut down my clear time by a good margin. However, even without her, I'm doing alright. Considering the quality of my supports, I do think she's doing decently well. All in all, I'm happy with how she's helping out in MOC, but to be transparent, I was a dedicated DOT main before getting Mighty. That team clears in 8 cycles on the second half of the current MOC, so for my account in particular, legitimately anything would have felt like an upgrade. With that being said, this is her Mega Shield period. So if I want to keep up this level of comfort clears-wise, then I'm gonna have to keep upgrading her team's gear and supports over time. As for the second half, yeah, dashingly handsome Strife Man over here's got that covered. Definitely the smoothest my clears have felt in a long time, but we'll see whether that holds up in 6 to 7 months or not. In APOC, genuinely, I can't remember the last time that I managed to get above 7,000 in overall AV. I played her against the half of Hule, as I felt that Mightimos would be able to take care of the half of the bugs better thanks to their imaginary weaknesses. I chose Castorice for the 1v1 versus Hule, and because she's tanky as all heck, she's easily able to stay alive in the 1v1. Then it's just a matter of weakness breaking the boss so that you can fire away. She felt ridiculously strong in this stage because of how many times the dragon was able to get hits in. I think that, while she certainly cleared fantastically this time around, it's highly likely that her gargantuan clear score is going to be sliced down by about 300 to 400 by the time that all of the buffs tailoring to her leave APOC. And that's being generous. So while she feels good, sure, I have little expectation of it lasting. I do think that when Quantum is wanted in APOC, Castorice will shine nicely for quite some time. I do believe that the metas for all the non-MOC modes move at a slower pace compared to the centrally standing MOC. Speaking of slower moving metas, Pure Fiction. I do think this is certainly one of the modes where I have the most faith in her longevity. That's mostly because Pure Fiction's meta seems to be fairly slow moving on the whole. Dude, remember Argenti? Yeah, that guy, from all the way back in 1.5, you can still make solid use out of him in Pure Fiction. So naturally, any Pure Fiction based unit is inherently going to have a longer shelf life than most, since the speed of power creep is far slower, and older units can still manage fine there. She does feel very nice in this game mode. Her Dragon's Breath is able to wipe out the trash mobs without any issues, and because of how you're supposed to preserve your Dragon's HP so that you can abuse the full 3-turn duration that it has, her kit naturally lends itself very well to taking down large enemy waves. Her enhanced skill where she does a joint attack with her Memo Sprite also slaps very hard, since she attacks all enemies on field at once with great force. All in all, my account wasn't geared up for Pure Fiction before her. My clears have always been cope, with me only meeting the 3-star clear conditions by a nose hair. This unit's finally allowed me to clear second half competently. Trash mobs are trash at the end of the day, so taking them out is easy, and she certainly does the damage needed to wipe out waves of ease. This is certainly where I'm going to feel the impact of her presence on my account the most going into the future. As before, I quite frankly had no good way to deal with the mode, so if you're really struggling in Pure Fiction, then she's not a bad pull at all. To be honest, I'm fine with her being a bit clunky with Sunday. Mine's E1 S1, so he does support my Castorice nicely enough, but in Pure Fiction, I found that using RMC was actually preferable. On the whole, I prefer to take advantage of the fact that she doesn't really want to use Sunday. You see, most 3.0 carries want that guy. Aglaia is quite dependent on him, and Mighty performs significantly better with him as well. Herda doesn't need him honestly, but she can indeed use him. He's one of the best supports in the game as it currently stands, so while it's a bit strange that the Memo Sprite user can't take full advantage of Sunday, as you want to use his ult on Castorice when Neverwing is up so if a dragon gets buffed too, I think that's more of a positive for a majority of accounts. The real kicker is my lack of Tribby. But because of how shield Castorice is in current content, I'm not really feeling the negative effects of using a more subpar team for her at the moment. Dual carry teams exist too, but due to my lack of a Tribby, I can't experience them at full potential. However, my perception on these remains skewed either way, as my Mightymost is E3 S1, and my Ruan Mei is E1. With that in mind, I honestly just prefer using Mighty on another half of my Sunday. Sure, they're good, but I feel like I'm gimping my Mightymost more than anything else. I suppose it'll come in handy down the line when I have another DPS I want to run on the second half, but honestly, no matter what his kit ends up being, I really want to use Phainon with Mighty. Those two were meant for one another, so I'm probably just going to continue to use Castorice on her own. We of course have to address the large dragon Memo Sprite in the room, Globals. Obviously they're not a good addition by any means, and I do hope that they remain more inconsequential like Castorice is. Her passive, at least in my experience, has just prevented frustration more than anything else. If I die in an SU mode, I don't have to reset the run or stage again, and if it's an endgame, it also saves me a reset. It's quality of life more than anything else, and I'd still be able to clear the game modes without it. So as everyone expected, the precedent is much worse than the passive itself. Here's hoping that things stick to being small quality of life. We need to wait for the next 3 to 4 globals or so to see what direction they're going in long term. And now for the moment that you've all been waiting for. Where do I currently think that Castorice stands in the meta? Honestly, I think she's a good DPS, but not a must-have as some may say. Like I said before, it's just like any other Honkai-style DPS. You want their main puzzle pieces in order to make them work well beyond their shield period. Content heavily favors her at the moment, but based on the way that she currently performs, I can infer that she'll be a versatile option long-term as her kit suits well to all game modes. But if you're somebody like me who missed out on Tribby the first time around, it might be a wise idea to get her next time, since the difference she makes to Castorice's performance is pretty big. I actually would say she's fairly relative to all of the other 3.x era DPSs that we've gotten so far. It's not like Aglaia or Mighty with a Sunday are all that much worse or better than Castorice. She has her own strengths, as do the others. I actually would advise against getting this unit if you already have some strong DPSs, as you'd rather invest into their best install supports instead. Unironically, the Herda still remains as being the best 3.0 DPS pull in my opinion. She's one of the few characters in this game to have a truly viable, fully free-to-play friendly team that doesn't demand a full gold team. I mean, we'll see if that continues going on into the future, but as it currently stands, that's where we are right now. The burden of team building for this unit is eased quite a bit by not needing Sunday, and Ruan Mei is free as it currently stands. If you build her well, she'll get by fine in a team that looks like this. But keep your eyes peeled for future caster supports to keep her viable in the long term. I do think that a well-built Acro for Jiaoqiu can get by fine in the current meta climate, and because this lovely dragon lady is also an anniversary release with great story presence, I assume that Hoovers will continue to favor her over a long period of time too. Also, just being real with you, don't pull if you can't get her signature light cone as well. The issue of light cones in Honkai Star Rail is becoming just as dire in ZZZ and Wuthering Waves if it hasn't already, but at least Wuwa's weapons are guaranteed. You'll feel underwhelmed by performance in the long term without the cone, unfortunately. It's not like a Miyabi where using a free-to-play engine still yields you incredible clears due to being inherently broken. It's like I said before, Castorice herself isn't even all that busted. She's as balanced as the rest of the 3.0 cast, and the real cut above the rest unit is the Herda. So as always, like with any carry in this game, only pick her up if you're willing to maintain her over time. I thought it'd be interesting to report on my experiences playing this unit on an account that doesn't have everything perfectly optimized for her. No Tribby, and no infinite resources to speak of. My account was nothing short of hot garbage not too long ago, and I will admit that Castorice is a big upgrade over what I was using before. It does irk me that my 4 to 6 cost Castorice team, changing depending on whether I use Ruan Mei or Pella, does so much better than my 9 cost dot team with near perfect relic investment. I seriously hope the 3.4 Kafka bus will be somewhat substantial. I originally wasn't gonna pull for this unit, but man, was her story incredible in my opinion. She was a huge upgrade to me, someone who previously had a bricked account, but I can't imagine her being anywhere near as impactful as someone who already has some solidly performing DPSs. Evaluate whether she'd really help you in each game mode first, and whether she steals essential supports from your teams. That'll give you a much more accurate representation of how good or bad she's gonna feel on your particular account. My account feels great now, But if I'm still playing Honkai Star Rail in a few months, I'll make an update video whether my clears still hold up or not. I'm very curious to see what the drop-off will look like once HP scalar units stop being shilled. But what do you think about Castorice? Is she as strong as you would have hoped? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, I have a ZZZ second channel. Head on over and subscribe if you're interested in some fun, silly ZZZ content. I'd also like to mention that I stream on Twitch. I stream once a week every week on Saturday, starting from 3 PM UK time. Come along so that we can play Wuthering Waves, ZZZ, and do some other fun stuff together. Hopefully this video was able to tell you my more developed opinions on Castorice now that we've had her out for a while. This has been Juice, signing out, and let's all just be real for a sec. The true reason to get this unit is for her darn Memo Sprite.